excited and ecstatic to be bringing this episode. In many sporting codes, if not sporting activities, we call them 12 men. It depends on infield players who are participating in a particular sport. But in the context of football, they're called 12 men because they go out there in making sure that they throw their support. They actually throw their weight behind their teams. Welcome to this exciting episode. My name is Chris Kope, aka Biggie on Sport. I'm thrilled to bring you one of the prominent super fans within South African football. And one of them, this is the man we've been chasing around, looking for him for many, many months. And we had actually used law enforcement agencies to put it that way, to actually pull him over and bring him over on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, the other one doesn't need any introduction. He's all over social media platforms. He has also actually formed his own platform as well, similar to this one, but that's not the crux of the matter today, as we'll be looking at football in general in as far as the Betway Premier League is concerned. Gentlemen, welcome once again. Ke namogela mo go Biggie on Sport. Ke simolola ka wena fano Thaps. Finally you can.
Leadership, and there's a verse in the Bible that says, when that time is right, the Lord will make it happen. I think the time is
Amen.
right, and I'm here,
Amen. I
leadership.
won't agree with
And
you more.
thank you for the
Yeah.
opportunity, leadership.
You are welcome.
Yeah.
Thaps ke stage name. Ke mang Thaps?
No, my name is actually Puti Chochi. Then Tapelo is just the name that I was named by my mother, but it's the name that has a lot of impact in my life.
Yeah.
So Tabs is just the name that I use in football. It's a simple name that one can use in
Yeah.
football. Yeah.
When we see you guys on different media platforms, especially social media platforms, you guys actually you are appearing in small, if not little snippets or insets.
Yeah.
But I guess all the time, this is the question on behalf of the viewers. But when you go weeds, ke mang Thaps? O tswa kae? Ko gae le kae? Ke ko kae ko gae? The last time we spoke, you were saying to me or attended some school or tertiary institution.
Well, just to summarize it, Tabs is a boy from Limpopo, born in a village in Bochombrana, but went on living in Muleji, Ramakivelo. Studied at Khakwa and got my grade 12 in year 2023. Now I'm at UJ doing BCom in accounting, second year. So that's how I can maybe sum up my life. Yeah.
Okay. Rawamogela once again. Oh, the big man himself. Hey, can I have that signature?
This is Trom, is big person sabalandeli the Orlando Pirates the president abalandeli bebhola the Africa yonke jikelele every Africa.
There you have it. There you have it. Thaps monna o supportera ya Sekhukhune. Mara guys, before we start about your individual support to your respective teams, I guess Dr. Ivan Khoza, together with his committee, both CEO, acting CEO, Dr. Mandla Madlala, including other committee members, have done a sterling work in as far as turning around the Betway Premier League as a football body in South Africa, especially since transition from NPSL to NSL and now the Betway Premier League. I think, guys, we're excited, all of us in South Africa, in as far as football is concerned.
Well, to be honest, I think, okay, there are many errors in terms of our football that need too much improvement, but taking that away, this is the best league in Africa. You see how well it is managed season in, season out. Okay, there are problems there and there in terms of refereeing and everything, but I think PSL at this point is at a bigger level of leadership. You see teams like our Sundowns competing in higher competitions like Fatlap World Cup. There's always a competition in the league. So I think this is one of the best league in Africa and it's well being managed. Though there are problems there and there that need to be fixed, but I think it's one of the best league that we have in Africa. And even if you can check the rankings in terms of money-wise and everything in Africa, I think we are maybe, if not number 2, but we are number 1. We have our teams always competing in CAF Champions League, not finishing in the preliminary rounds, but finishing in finals, semi-finals, and all. So I think it's one of the best prominent league in Africa as a whole.
Our league has improved, especially since actually it moved from NPSL to NSL. Now that the Betway Premier League, in fact, I think the likes of Dr. Khoza, John Committees, and many others have done a sterling work. We should give credit where it is due.
I couldn't agree more. Even what I like currently is even the competition that is in the league. because previously we used to have that Sundowns dominated lead, but now it's a different story altogether. So as the league improves, even the teams improve, because currently we are not sure who's going to take the lead. Yeah, so it's getting interesting, and every player that is in the PSL, you can see that when you're watching a game, they are no longer small teams now. Don't have small teams.
No more small teams.
No more.
So, guys, let's reflect back at the start of the 2025-2026 season when it started. We know like the likes of Kaizer Chiefs started like a wildfire, in fact, winning all their matches, and only, in fact, to hit a brick wall along the way. Pirates, actually, on the back foot, obviously, not a good start for Orlando Pirates, especially after the introduction of the new coach, Abdesalam Adau, obviously. And this actually 2 back-to-back losses against Sekhukhune, as well as Marumo Gallants, actually. It iked the defense of Orlando Pirates. Immediately they started actually shouting, calling for the head of the coach. Are you happy where Pirates it is right now?
I'm so happy. And the reason we were like that as fans is because first impressions last. Yeah. For instance, now, even if Coach Wadu can lose 2 consecutive games, we won't panic the way we did the first time, because those were first impressions. Yeah. More special.
And he was still new.
He was still new, and
And you guys were still hanging on to onto the previous coach. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
that was the problem. When you get into a certain position there, after someone performed well in that position,
Exactly.
you are there for a challenge.
Yeah.
But now, even even people who are not fans of Pirates,
Mm.
they can see that
Yeah.
that guy
Mm.
is even more dangerous than Rivera.
Mm.
Before,
Yeah.
I think this season we're taking the lead.
We're taking the league.
We're taking the lead.
Okay. Thaps, Sekhukhune United, surprise, surprise. You guys have never ever in your history as a football club found yourself in this position that you're occupying now. Second on the log, 9 games, 20 points. And last season, the predecessor to Eric Tinkler, that is Lithono Losiemo, left the team while it was on 4th position, top 8, obviously. You went away into the Continental Competition, Confederation Cup, obviously. Talk us through, in fact, is this a surprise? Eric Tinkler was appointed on the 10th of May 2025, and he has changed, he has brought fortune within the team itself, having turned things around. Your impression?
Well, I think it is not a fluke, man. It's just the continuation of what has been happening for the past 5 years. Just a strategic continuation in terms of, you see how the team has been run season in, season out. The competition is always there. Yeah. We have never been in a season and never been at the position that it's worse than the position of last season. In our first season, we have been number 11. Second season, number 7. Third season, number 4. Even last season, number 4. And even this season, I think we're going to compete at that level. Well, I think, if you remember the time of where Lithono Losiemo has been released from the club, many of us were fighting, were saying, we need Coach Siema, because of the result that he was bringing to the team. He was bringing competition to the team, he was bringing development to the team. But I think we more needed a person who's more experienced. Because, okay, Lithono Losiemo will put you in the top 8. Lithono Losiemo will put you in cup competitions. But we need a coach who's more experienced with winning cup competition. And you look at the coach that is available, you find Eric Tinkler, who's more even good in terms of development. As you can see, Sekhukhune is about to build a facility where they want to develop players and become an academy. So we need a coach who can transition players from the development to the senior team. So I think the best coach that's what was available was Eric Tinkler. I mean, you look at the boys like Abu Vidboy, you look at what he has done at Cape Town City, there's that development. So we needed someone who's like that. So he came to the team, and I think he found a quality squad. I think one thing that is pushing Sekhukhune is the having experienced players who have competed at the likes of Orlando Pirates, Beat Vets, who have that winning mentality, and having young players like Abu Lorado Mandi, Abu Samkelo Sitlali, who have come up through the structures of Abu Jomo Cosmos and everything. So the combination of those two, and having a coach who's more experienced and a technical team that is more experienced with running a club and winning the leagues and winning competition, I think it's what kept us competitive this season and started with the season very well.
Talking about Eric Tinkler, this was quite evident enough as he was voted best coach of the month of August.
Well, it was a controversial one. I remember people will say it's a controversial one, but it was an easy one because of the coaches won. I think he won 5 games in that time, beaten big teams like Orlando Pirates, beaten big teams like Kaizer Chiefs. So the coach has come up and he's done very well, and I think he really deserved that credit to get that cup. Though people had that thing with he had a bad season at Cape Town City. I mean, you can't just write off someone just because of just one bad season that he had. Many coaches, they had bad seasons. Coaches, they mentioned coaches like Peter Musimani. Look at Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. There's always that bad season for one. Jose Rivero, Jose Rivero, they started at a good season. But there's always those big coaches that started at the wrong foot. And just having a error in the first season doesn't mean you can write off the coach. So I think he has come up, he has done very well, and he really deserved that coach of the season, coach of the month.
I'm going to come back to you. I want us to reflect more on Coach Eric Tinkler, as well as some few players within the squad itself. Orlando Pirates, a whole new squad, new coach, Yosiema of this world, Liremi of this world, Bogasi doing well, in fact, being actually chosen both under 20 and the senior squad. In fact, there's a jostle of having him in both actually national teams, but with Hugo Bruce actually being the winner at the end of the day. And yeah, what do you make of these new players? I think, do you think they have asserted themselves quite well in as far as Pirates setup is concerned?
First of all, the scouts of Orlando Pirates need to be uploaded. Whoever is responsible for bringing players to Orlando Pirates, they are doing a good job. To be honest, on my side, when I saw these players, these new players, it's not many of them that I was pleased with. Okay. At first, when I saw them, it's not many of them, but it is clear, it is quite clear that there was a strategy in bringing in these players. They were first identified where they were performing, and then, there's a lot that was done. These Pirates, the current Pirates, is very dangerous. For instance, when you talk about the first 2 games that we were complaining about, where
Sekhukhune and Marumo Galais.
he wanted to introduce these players, and as the fans, we were panicking because we were still holding on
Previous players.
Yes, on previous players.
Yeah.
But now we can see what he's doing, and for that, we will always respect him. As I've said earlier, that even if he can lose 2 consecutive or 3 consecutive games now, we will still have confidence in him. Yeah.
Sibilibili started like a house on fire, but it looks like, in fact, he has dropped form. He's not delivering goals as expected. Do you think he was introduced a little bit too early, or perhaps you guys need to choose or select the
Games for him.
I think it is a matter of the responsibility that he is given.
Okay.
For instance, the issue of Sibilibili can be similar to the issue of Rile Mufokeng.
Okay.
People will be complaining now that Mufokeng is no longer scoring goals, or Mufokeng is no longer, but he is playing a different role in the squad of Wadu. So I think we need to do away with what we knew before and focus on what is happening now. Yes, I agree. Sibilibili, when he first came, he was scoring goals and he was doing that. I still believe that he's still going to do the same. He's still going to. It's just that the rotation, the way Wadu is doing things. Remember, Orlando Pirates is involved in many competitions.
Exactly.
So when you are involved in many competitions, you need to have many weapons.
Depth.
Yeah.
You must have depth. Yeah.
You must have depth. So I think Coach Wadu is doing something that we will see as time goes by. Yes.
I'm glad I've got the two of you here, and there's a common factor here. Sekhukhune and Orlando Pirates. There's a saying I like in English that goes like this: don't write a person off while he's still alive. Anything can happen. He was condemned to the scrap heap, being branded, being dubbed all sorts of names. He was training for wrong races. He failed at Sundowns. Sekhukhune gave him a platform, and they gave him a platform to resuscitate his career. He went to Orlando Pirates, and because of his wayward, performance or behavior off the field,
he was written off, but it looks like he's on the way to resurgence. Sipho Mbule, let me start with you. I remember you guys, you playing against Orlando Pirates, I think, between 2024 and 2025. And he was a central figure in the middle of the park together with former Orlando Pirates, a player who is a captain of Sekhukhune United right now, Linda Ntambo. That combination, in fact, made Sekhukhune so strong and so dynamic, giving Pirates a torrid time. But let's talk about Sipho Mbule.
Master Chef.
Master Chef, as they call him, yes.
I think if we be honest, Sipho Mbule is one of the most developed players in South African football, one of the most quality players in the midfield. You see how he scans the ball. We never saw such things from some of the players. And I think, in South African football, what destroys players because of one just hear something and we don't do proper research on what's happening with the player. And we self just conclude on saying, Umjita is this way and this way. And we forget ourselves, players are also human beings. Exactly. They go through many problems. And I think being at teams like Abusanos, there was a higher competition. And some people thought maybe him sitting on the bench is because of alcohol and everything. There's just competition and everything. And coming up to Sekhukhune, I think Sekhukhune really played a big role in him. Brought him back to the South African football. I remember the game we played against Orlando Pirates. Though we lost, but that guy had an impact in the game. He won many people's hearts. And I think that's where Orlando Pirates saw him, or we need to get that guy. Start of the season, thought maybe he's going to Kaizer Chiefs. But there's one thing that I said, that if Sipho Mbule, if he has a problem, the only way he can change is not at Sekhukhune, he's not at SuperSport, he's not at a small team, he's not at Sundowns. He needs a team where there's legends, people who have experienced that. Going to Pirates, you get the likes of Abola Kilhuati, people who have played football and have that experience and are going to give you proper advices. And going at Pirates, look at what's happening with him. People written him off. Look at the impact that he had at Bafana Bafana. Now going to the World Cup because of his impact at Bafana Bafana. So I think he's a player to look at this season, and I think he will really have a good season this season, leadership.
Talking about Orlando Pirates, actually, with Mbule going to Pirates, I remember before the season starts, he was taken through orientation, and there were one-on-one conversations and talks with the legends, as you just alluded to now, the likes of Lakile Kwati and many other players, Tebo Homoloi as well, intervene in talking to the player himself.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I was talking about. You need to go to a team that has more experienced players that are gonna teach him and bring him with advices. And I think that's the thing that has made an impact in his career. And I think this thing is gonna push him Orlando Pirates. Honestly speaking, he's gonna have a good season.
Trom, Sipho Mbule at Orlando Pirates is doing wonders, as Thaps has just mentioned, that we saw, in fact, when Bafana played against their opponents during the course of the week, Rwanda, beating them by 3-0. He was so instrumental in the middle of the park. And not only there, he's doing wonders for Orlando Pirates in the middle of the park. Whenever he comes in off the bench, he does wonders.
I think the issue of Sipho Mbule is a lesson even to us, general, that, when you are given a second chance, you need to bring the best in that second chance. Sometimes there are people with, with history that is not favorable. But if you are given a second chance, you work on that and then you bring the best. So Sipho Mbule is an example of that, because what he's doing at Orlando Pirates, also it goes back to the relationship between coach and player. There's this thing that I believe, I don't know, I've never seen a coach, Hugo Bruce, talking to his players like before the game or after the game or outside the game. But I believe that there is something that he speaks to them that is not related to football. That is just life in general. So yes, that impacts the field of play. So I think what happened to Sipho Mbule can be connected to that, because you can see that the guy is determined.
Very.
The guy is very, and his delivery, he's making use of his second opportunity. So that motivates us, even in everything that we are everything that in life general, besides football.
Yes. We say what they want to say. My studio guest right here, it is Orlando Pirates superfan known as Trom, as well as Sekhukhune superfan known as Thaps. And we're looking at football in general in South Africa, including different teams, and also zooming in onto individual players within different teams in as far as the Betway Premier League is concerned. You mentioned that you guys beat 3 Giants, actually 2. Pirates and Chiefs, you played draw with Sundowns. What makes Sekhukhune tick?
We haven't played with Sundowns.
You
We're
haven't
still
played?
going to play with Sundowns.
Okay,
But I think what makes us tick, and I have mentioned it, is the thing of having young and experienced players in the squad. Because let's be honest, you can't just experience. You can never get it at the shop. You need experience. And some players like Abo Lindam Tambo, Abo Vusmus Nube, Abo Monare, when they come up with the pitch, advising and motivating young players, that's where the tick come in and adding up experience with the young players. You see the likes of Abu Keleto Makhala getting the opportunity from. I think he was also a player that was once written off in South African football after Peter Musimanele left at Sundowns, never getting the opportunity, going to teams like Upington City and coming back to the Sekhukhune and making an impact. They had a wonderful season last season. So I think what makes us tick is the thing of having young and experienced players within the squad.
Talking about that, still on that particular point, having beaten big giants like Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, Bradley Grobler at 37, at 37 years of age. I remember listening to his post-match interview saying that it feels nice to score against teams that have written you off after he scored against Kaizer Chiefs. What do you make of that?
To be honest with you, for me, I think age is just a number if only you perform in the pitch. If only you bring quality and experience and goals in the pitch, age is just a number. You look at the likes of, again, Abulindam Tambo. They just bring their impact into the game. Even at the age of 35 and 37, they still bring that thing in the pitch. And for Bradley Grobler, I think it's one of the best strikers that we ever saw experience in South Africa. Okay, I can mention the likes of Osiabonga Nomvete, but I think Bradley Grobler is one of the best. Never played at a big team, never got a chance to play at the teams like Abu Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns, or even Orlando Pirates. Just being at Super Sport, but managing to score those many goals and becoming the numbers, the second leading goal scorer currently active in the PSL. I think that's one thing you can give the guy credit. And coming up with Sekhukhune, I think one thing also, they also even written off in terms of the age. People saying age is that age, he's 39, what impact will he bring? But I mean, Abu Cristiano Ronaldo, they're still playing at this point. Yeah, so what we want is just the impact and the goals. And I think he has started the season very well, and I think he still needs to score. I think that Siabonga Nomvete and Peter Shalulile record, we are coming for it. He's coming for it.
Your record.
To that.
Yeah. The coach, Eric Tinkler, has lamented on the quality of players that you guys have, saying that some of them deserve to be in the squad, especially the goalkeeper, Leonardo. Robert. Yeah, Leonardo. Saying that he has done a sterling work at Sekhukhune. He deserves a call-up into the Bafana Bafana setup.
Well, I think I'm actually not a fan of Ronaldo Lina. Going back to what he has done back in the days, he had many mistakes. I remember he was one of the players that contributed towards the relegation of Maritzburg United. But I'm for a fan of a hard worker. I think the guy lately, he has beat up his game. I remember a game we played against Sundowns, the Nedbank, though we lost the game in terms of penalties, but the guy had impact in that game and keeping clean sheets and also making it to the Bafana Bafana preliminary rounds. I think it's one thing that can motivate the player. And looking at our goalkeeper department, we really have a quality goalkeeper department. Even our Tresa Zawada, even look at Manuel Sapunga, much of experienced players, as I said, and having there's a competition there. So for one to get there, he needs to up his competition, and he needs to keep it up and keep some clean sheet. But I think we quite have an experienced goalkeeper department.
Trom, we seem to be experiencing a deep in form in as far as Relebohile Mofokeng is concerned. He's not at his best. What do you think is the challenge? What do you think is the problem? Is it because there's been a lot of talk about him having to move to certain teams within the continent or abroad, and that is not coming through, and his actually parents are also at the forefront of talking about really to move abroad or to move towards the continent? Do you think these talks might have had an impact on his performance?
Have had that impact. But this issue can be divided into two angles. The first one could be that we are saying he has dropped because he was playing a certain role in the previous season. Yes, what I said earlier on. The second one, because now he's playing, he's given a different role. Yes. Okay. Yes. And he is delivering in that different role that he's given. But the problem is that if we know Biggie for this, this is how we always want to see Biggie. Okay. The moment we don't see Biggie on what we know,
Okay.
we think that Biggie has dropped. But for me, I don't think Relay has dropped.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I think he has just been given a different,
A different role.
yes, a different
Okay.
role.
Okay.
Maybe there is maybe there is a certain percentage of truth in that dropping thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be influenced by many things.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still believe that Relay is going to.
You said it's twofold. You said there are two factors here. What is the second factor?
Okay. Yeah, the second factor could be that if you remember very well, between Relay and Gota, Relay was the first preference, even for fans, and he was liked by everyone. So I think that thing of Gota leaving before him, I think somehow it affected him.
My point exactly.
Somehow it
My point exactly. My point exactly.
But it is intertwined with the fact that he's playing a
different role. Yeah. Yeah. Because there were talks that the team where Nkota gone to, Rede was supposed to join Nkota along there. Hence the performance today. Yeah. Okay. Do you echo the same sentiments?
I think, man, we need to be honest, man. I think if we love the boy, let's be honest about the boy and tell
Come
the
again?
truth about. If we love the boy, let's be honest about and tell the truth and not lie. If one is not performing very well, let's be honest and tell him you're not performing very well.
What's your
you
take?
need to come up. You look at even it's the very same thing that Chico Bruce said, that I'm just in the first before this latest collapse. He said, I'm calling him just because of sympathy, but the boy has dropped. I'm just calling him because of, if you don't call him,
exactly.
you lose the motivation with the
My
boy.
point
You call him, you motivate him. And currently, I think what killed him is the injury. But honestly speaking, I think even the conversion from his original position as a winger to the position number 10, it's what really impacted his career. Because, I mean, if the player is good on the wing, and Hugo Bruce has said, a young player is best to play him at his best position. Converting him to a new position is changing the whole career yake. If teams like teams from overseas really want him, now they're not going to look him from the perspective of a winger. They're going to look him from a perspective as a number 10. But I think this season, he really started the season as badly, but you can never write off the boy. And I think after this injury, he will really come up and compete. I think he's one of the players that are going to have too much impact coming up AFCON, and also Pirates playing in CAF competitions. So I think the boy just need to know, even if you have not get the opportunity to leave, even if it's delayed, but it doesn't say it's over at all, you're still going to get the opportunities. Teams are going to still come up, only if you as a player tell yourself and perform. Because if you don't perform, what's going to happen? They're not going to really come up to the team because of you're not performing. They need you to perform in order for them to scout you. So I think he just needs that motivation and to really up his performance.
You know, I'm glad that you brought that one. You know, in the PSL, there are positive things that start from certain teams, and then they become a culture, and then they spread to other teams. You know, I think and believe that this one will spread also to other teams. Yes, because it's a good thing that is happening at Orlando Pirates, and I don't want to see that one dying. You know, it also motivates players, because even now there are players who are in the DDC that are motivated by the fact that we played with Mbogas. There is Mbogas. We will get there. Yeah. So that is a motivation. It is boosting them, and it is also assisting in the continuation. You know, because this thing of teams performing and then all of a sudden the fire dies, it's not a good thing. But if the DDC is good, there is continuation, there is hope. So this is one thing that I would love to see it spreading even in other teams as well.
Thaps?
Leadership, I think If we be honest, development is the future, as you mentioned. Without development, there's no continuation, and it's one thing that Coach Hugo Bruce said when he came up in South Africa, that South Africa that doesn't have proper structures of development.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at our SAFA, we only have under 17, then under 20, then it's over. So we need to start the players from a young age. If you look at teams that have won AMA World Cup, about Brazil and everything, they start players at underage. That's why you see South Africa struggling in terms of worldwide, because of here we start at under 17, then they start at under 10, 7-year gap of development. Now you need to teach players basic at age 17. It's not easy to teach players basic at age 17. And in South Africa, if we be honest, we have quality players. We have quality players, and I think it's what things SAFA need to look at. Bring the Minister of Sports look at, bring those competitions in schools, back in schools. That's where we can get talent. Because of if it wasn't such competitions, tournament in Cassis, we could haven't saw the best of Fundo Vilakazi. We could haven't saw the best of we could haven't scouted Rebele Mfuke, Fundo Vilakazi Mbogazi. We could haven't saw that quality players. We couldn't have had a team under 17, our under 20 or 23 competed very well in FIFA club, the recent FIFA World Cup. So there's a need for proper development structures, because of without development, we don't have a future leadership.
I've always reiterated. Etc.
And look at that. I think I don't know, man. I think our Department of Sports is really failing us in terms of looking at schools like School of Excellence that have brought quality players in this country.
Back
The
in the
likes of
days,
Abu Keshius
Steve Pienaar.
quality players, and look at it falling down. It's really, really sad. I think it's such initiatives that need to be feeded with more money, that need to be sponsored, funded, because of that is the foundation of our football in South Africa. Without development, we don't have a foundation. Without development, we have no future. In the coming years, if we don't have proper development, we're really going to struggle worldwide. And we need to compete worldwide. AFCON, we need to compete. World Cup, we need to compete. So I think it is the development that can keep us. Look at the likes of Abu Kutlwan Lukaku, who comes from development, getting an assist in the FIFA Club World Cup. That's a big thing for our football, and that's how it's gonna sell South African football to the world. Seeing the likes of Abonkota to the world, and that's really motivated to the young stars of South Africa. I don't think you can go to any cars. You can go to any cars in South Africa and ask about Rebele Mfuke. They will tell about Rebele Mfuke. Ask about Lamine Yamal. They will tell about the Lamine Yamals of this world. So we need to more focus on the development. The higher structures, leave them. They are performing very well. PSL, go to the development structures. Take SAFA, Department of Sports, meet and go back to schools and bring those Danone Cups, Motsepe Foundation Cups and everything back in the schools. That's where we're going to get quality. Because of Limpopo, we have too much quality. But because of there are no scouting, there's no development in such areas, that's where the problem starts.
I wouldn't have put it better as much as you have ascribed it. Yeah, I think you are on point. I want us now to digress a little bit and look at teams individually on the table, the PSL itself. But I'm going to put you on the spot, both of you, in as far as Kaizer Chiefs is concerned. There's a player called Tejane on how he left Chiefs to TS Galaxy. Apparently, that boy, he was a ball boy, and he felt that I have what it takes. I'm talented. Now I need my flowers. I need to play. And off he went to TS Galaxy.
Kaizer Chiefs is good in development.
I was about to say that.
Kaizer Chiefs
Chiefs
is
not
good
utilizing,
in
giving their
development.
players a chance. Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah, many quality players. I can say, okay, in terms of development, what I trust is SuperSport United. Just unfortunate, you know what
They're
happened.
gone.
Stellenbosch now coming up. Mamelodi Sundowns produced the likes of Abo Tembazwane, Pesitau, and also Kaizer Chiefs produced a lot of quality players. But look at the ages now when Chiefs is doing bad. There's a little bit of a gap between their development and their senior team. You see the players from the development, when they come up through the structures of the senior team, they fail. There's high pressure. They are not those kind of players back in the days when you had the likes of Willard Katsandi, Dumile Nkune, Leboha Manyama, who am I going to motivate those players and really become the backbone of themselves. Really, William Fuge to be the best is because of he had players that can protect him at the team. When he does mistake, there are players that can protect him, highly experienced players. And you look at a player like Pusodi Tejan, I think he took a good risk there. He took a good risk. he was quality, and putting him on that spot is not very good. Look at the boy now doing what the job that he's doing
he's
at
doing wonders
TS Galaxy,
at TS Galaxy.
TS Galaxy. And I think it's one of the players that I also at some point had an opinion on Guti. He needs to be at Bafana. He's producing week in and week out. I think he's the only player this season that has scored, if I'm not mistaken, that has scored a hat-trick this season. He's the only player in the PSL that has scored hat-trick this season. So he's a quality player. And you look at the very same boy that he left with, I think he's playing at Stellenbosch, I just forgot the name. He's also doing very well at Stellenbosch. So he's one of the players that South Africa has produced from the development. But unfortunately, Chiefs just failed in terms of bringing the boy to the senior team, and so his quality. But TS Galaxy, Team Suka is really doing a good job with that boy.
As a football lover and a South African football supporter, I'm concerned about what is happening at Kaizer Chiefs. But as an Orlando Pirates supporter, I'm happy.
I'm be a football fan.
I can imagine.
You know, I don't know what is happening at Kaizer Chiefs. I don't know. I'm yet to hear reasons. I'm yet to hear, tangible, to get tangible things that say this is what is happening at Kaizer Chiefs. I don't know what is happening because recently Kaizer Chiefs was doing very well.
Exactly.
And we all thought that things are going well. And it seems to be something that reoccurs because even the last season, they started very well. And then all of a sudden, the Kaizer Chiefs that we know just creeps in.
Gentlemen, without taking everything away from Chiefs, back in time under the tenure of head coach Arthur Zwane, he's the man actually who introduced young players. Your Blom of this world. They even went to the CAF Champions League, if not, finals. And that actually, the spanner was thrown to the work after they introduced Stuart Baxter, and he dismantled the entire young squad. Your Blom, you name them, these young boys. What happened? Will I be correct to say that's where they lost it?
From the development side, I think that's where they lost it, with taking out Arthur Zwane. That has produced Happy Mashiani, Nkosipile Ngobo, Ngezana, the likes of Njawilo Blom. He gave the opportunity to that boy. It was at the time, if you remember, there was a FIFA ban to Kaizer Chiefs. They were unable to sign players because of that Madagascar player. And that's where the point that you need to go and look at your development. They brought up those players. And Arthur Zwane had a very good development that time. I think the problem is with Kaizer Chiefs is them being impatient with the coaches there. See now, Nardising Nabi had a bad season, yes, last season. Finished up at position number out of the top 8, only won 8 games, which is the lowest in the history of Kaizer Chiefs. But he has brought the cup.
He brought the cup.
Trust
and
the
then
man.
the drought.
You see, so the problem with them, I think, is the impatience in them. If you remember the days of, that's why I like saying when people ask why I left Kaizer Chiefs, I said I supported the Kaizer Chiefs.
You were a Kaizer Chiefs fan?
I supported the Kaizer Chiefs.
Okay.
I supported the Kaizer Chiefs of Dr. Kaiser Mutaung. He was very much.
And I guess the people hear this for the first time on this.
No, it's not the first time. They know. I mean, Sekhukhune is a 5-year-old team. So back in the day, we supported Chiefs. When you grow up in families, they support Chiefs. You just go up with it. But when you come up, you start looking at the things. You say, "Hi, man." I think we always complain. Here's the thing: we always complain and say teams from our provinces, if I'm Limpopo, they are not doing very well, but we are not supporting them. How will they do very well if we are not supporting them? They need our support. And that's why I said, let me support Sekhukhune. But going back to the topic, I think the problem now is just the Abu Junior and Bobby Mtaung being impatient with coaches. I think at some point you just need to be patient, risk a 2-year thing. Remember at Sundowns when Dr. Patrice Motsepe came up, there was a point where Sundowns fans said, Agahambe.
Pito Musimane.
Agahambe. But Dr. Patrice Motsepe trusted the guy, and look at what he brought. He brought competition. He brought the Sundowns that is currently consistent is because of Coach Peter Musimane. So I think they need to be patient with
At some stage, Nabi went away to attend to his family matters at home. There was this talk from Pirates fans. What was that all about?
No, I think, and that thing could have, I think it's one of the reasons they fired him. Maybe they also believed that narrative.
Okay.
There was this narrative that without Nabi, they
So
win,
you guys
they
as
win.
Pirates fans, you were instrumental in the dismissal of Nabi.
I believe so.
With this rhetoric, you go to Nabi.
Yes, yes. I want to believe so.
Okay.
I want to believe so. Because, each time Nabi was absent and those guys were responsible, they were doing well.
Yeah.
And I think even the management at Chiefs believe that this is going to continue.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So
It is clear that even though they were doing well, Nabi was the backbone in them doing well. Yeah. So now I don't know. And also another thing that I think could be the problem at Kaizer Chiefs. There are many things that are said by people about the management interfering maybe with the coaches and all that, not being given full authority in everything that is happening. I think that could be another problem. Yes, that could be another factor.
guys, the sale of SuperSport United, it pierced many people's hearts, especially football enthusiasts in South Africa. Knowing SuperSport history, the players that they have produced, as you said, they have good structures in terms of development and stuff like that. A well-managed, well-administered football team in South Africa. Your take?
I think look at the teams that are performing very well currently in the county. There's no team that you'll find without a SuperSport United product. Bafana that qualified for FIFA World Cup. Go there, you'll find 7 of them.
Goalkeeper,
Rowan Williams, Talent Mbata, the names, they've come from SuperSport. And I'd like to go back to your first question about the PSL administration. I think one thing they need to work on is this selling of teams. Go to EPL. They don't sell the team. They just change the management. And I think that's the thing that needs to be implemented, because we are really losing names in South African football. Morocco Saulus. You can mention the Bidvest Vets.
Historic teams.
Big teams. Main Rangers, Bloemfontein Celtic, Platinum Stars. Those big teams that had influence in South African football. Our All-Stars, the coaches that was coached by Steve Kompela. We're losing those kind of things. And I think they need to implement this thing. I think even Dr. Kaizer Mtau mentioned Iduguti. Just by winning Lotto, someone thinks he can own a PSL team. And that's really bad for our thing. We lost the likes of Bloemfontein Celtic. So they need to start coming up with new methods to really fund teams and really keep the heritage of South African football, because we can't keep each and every season losing such big teams that have impact in our football. So I think they need to work on that.
Even the bringing back of the trying to bring back Bloemfontein Celtics by introducing Siwelele. I think that might, but it won't be as it was. That might try to assist. So, this thing, as he's mentioning it, is destroying our football and football culture. What was happening at Bloemfontein was something special that needed to spread even with other teams. Bloemfontein Celtics supporters, those people were something else. They supported their team. They sang whether the team is winning, is losing. And that culture of Bloemfontein Celtic, if it was not destroyed, and it could spread to other teams as well, it was going to end, number one, this issue of fans beating up coaches, throwing things in the stadium and all that. That culture at Bloemfontein, it's something that needed to spread. So it ended.
Go ahead, Tom.
I think to just add on that, let's take that thing away from the teams. They're really trying. And I think the biggest problem in our football is in terms of funding.
I was about to actually say that it takes an amount of exorbitant expenditure to maintain teams, according to those who are at the behest of those particular teams.
Too much. And getting a 2.5 million grant every month is nothing. Because you need to travel. Imagine in a month, as Sekhukhune, we have 4 games. You need to play a game in Durban against Durban City. Then you come back, you have a game in Polokwane with Magezi. You need to go back again in Cape Town and play against Stellenbosch. That's a huge cost. You need to pay players. You need to book stadiums and everything. So I think the problem is within funding. And it's one thing that Tim Sukas mentioned with the funding thing. I mean, you see teams that don't even have numbers in terms of the rugby, in the rugby, having many sponsors on their shirt that is filled. There's no place, that one, but come up to other teams, you don't see such things in the football world. So I think the football world, just that things like Abu VAR, they're what contributing to the thing. Because sometimes it's not fair and some people are losing things in terms of the VAR, the unfair refereeing and everything. But the PSL need to come up with strategies to get fundings into the PSL teams. And that's the thing that can keep teams. Because of SuperSport, they also sold the team because of money. Bidvest, there was just a loss of partnership between Bidvest and Vets. So it's always the money thing which is the problem in most of the teams.
You want to share that as well?
No, I think he has said a mouthful.
Yeah, it's sad, guys. It's sad to see, in fact, such actually big names, teams being sold out there. As I said, let's look at the table, in fact. Siwelele was actually purchasing super sport status, 50 million. And look where they're sitting right now. Right at the bottom, I think third, if not fourth from the bottom.
From the bottom, yeah.
Cheaper, cemented at the bottom of the lock, facing probably relegation come end of the season, not performing well. We've got the likes of Richards Bay, in fact, where a huge amount of money was injected as cash within the team itself, but they don't seem to utilize that profitably because they keep on losing games instead of maybe investing into quality players. I don't know. What's your take on that?
You mentioned Chippa United. I think another problem of Chippa United is something similar to Kaizer Chiefs.
Interference.
Yes, interference, and also not being patient with coaches. He mentioned that about Kaizer Chiefs, that, they are not patient with coaches. I don't think there is another team in the PSL that fires coaches like Chippa United.
Chippa United! I know 2 months into signing Barella, and then Barella went off. He's now with Amatax. Yeah.
This is when I always mention Chippa United is one of the highest contributors in terms of the unemployment rate of South Africa. Each and every season, they fire almost 12 or 18 players. They release 12 or 18 players, but still, what's the importance of releasing those players? Because of each and every season, you don't qualify for top 8. You're not in the top 8. Okay, if you release players, then compete. That's what we can say, okay, this thing that you're doing, it's a strategy. But each and every season, you need to build a team. You need to build a team. And the firing of coaches is not just the firing of coaches. It's a change of systems. It's a change of tactics and everything. And if these 2 months we are told we need to play football like this, next month we are told we don't need to play with a number 10, we need to play with a false 9. That's damaging to the players, and there's not going to be consistency within the football thing. So I think teams like Chippa United, Chippa Mpengezi, need to start being patient with coaches, because each and every season, you can't just fire coaches each and every season. I think there was even this guy Uvusmus that they fired. It's one of the guys that had impact with those teams. Yeah, but you see, there's also interference even from the management getting into the coaches' jobs, and that's the huge problem. Sometimes hire a coach, give him time, just let him coach freely and see what happens. Give him a season and say, if you fail within a season, that's why we can fire you, not just 2 months. 2 months, it's how many games? 4 or 8 games. We have a fair break. Maybe you play 5 games and you fire a coach just because of those 5 games. It's really not nothing.
There's a yo-yo situation. You want to weigh in onto?
Yes, I wanted to add another team. I wanted to mention another team that has a problem of releasing players. Another team is Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch has got that problem of releasing players.
Are they releasing or are they selling them?
It doesn't matter how they release them, whether they sell them, but they are releasing players. They lose players.
What about TS Galaxy? Because Sugazi said he's actually 5-year plan. The first 5-year plan, it was to make sure that he produces players of quality and sell them, so that they reinvest that into the club. And look, it's working for him.
But for Stellenbosch, it's a different case, because Stellenbosch was at the verge, if not the one of the biggest teams in the PSL. Because when you mention Stellenbosch participates in big cups. They went to CAF. They went. They participate in the MTN. They have that potential of even taking the cup, but they don't. Why? Because they want to remain a small team, and that is not good.
And talking about Stellenbosch, they're also down there with the likes of your Siwelele, etc., etc. I think selling of players has had an impact in as far as the team's performance is concerned.
And it's what you mentioned, the commercial part of the world coming into football, and teams focusing too much on making money. But you look at Tim Sukazi and the owner of Stellenbosch, Rupert. Ask yourself a question: do they need the money? If they're selling players season in, season out, do they need the money? They are one of the highest. If we check the teams that are rich in the PSL in terms of their owners, they are number one in the PSL in terms of Rupert and maybe Motsepe coming in. And we need competition in the PSL. Okay, you can sell players. Teams like Timsukas, you can sell players, but you need to compete. That's what we need. You need to keep some players. Okay, have a 3-year plan maybe. Put the players maybe 3 years, they give you competition, and after those 3 years, you release those players to other teams. That's what we need. Because of if you say selling players in every season, you need to bring up players. You then start a season on a low note. And when you start catching up, you find Sundowns is already there, Pirates is already there. There's the competition. So I think they need to more focus on the commercial side of football. We see it. You need to make money and everything. But can sometimes you just go for the competition, maybe for some season, not sell players. Look at where they are right now.
And it's also damaging the profile of the coach. Because, you know, when you are always building and then you are trying to mix this and then we say we release. So as the coach, you are damaged because you don't have a record, a good record, whereas you have the potential to get that record.
Talking about damaging the reputation of the coach, look at Gavin Hunt CV, how it was almost dented, especially with what happened to him at both Kaizer Chiefs, and finally he was fired by SuperSport before it was sold to Siwelele SuperSport United. But the man is doing well at Durban City at the moment.
And another thing with also SuperSport, what contributed to them having a rough season last season, selling players, being a feeder of Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, is that thing. If you look at the players that are there at some teams right now, if they were at SuperSport, it was going to be a league-winning team as far as they won the leagues back in the days. But Coach Kevin Hunt is one of the coaches that is I think it's sort of, I can say, underrated in South African football. It's one of the coaches that have had impact in the football world in terms of producing quality players. As I mentioned, you can see some of his products are at the big teams of South African football and making high impact. And now coming up at its Durban City, Durban City. Yeah, doing a very wonderful job. I think he is the coach that you can never write off in South African
Durban City is your former Maritzburg United.
You see, so he's the coach that you can never write off at that thing. He likes young players, he likes experienced players, and that's the thing that is keeping him in the PSL and doing very well.
And he's giving teams a torrid time.
Another thing that I think is relevant in this issue, in this conversation, is the issue of sponsors. You know, if big sponsors that has a potential can boost these teams that are called small teams, I think that can take our football to the next level. Because one other problem is that even the players that are playing for these teams, maybe for our Stellenbosch and other teams, they want to go to Sundowns, they want to go to Orlando Pirates, they want to go because they consider those as big teams. You can't blame them. Hence, I'm saying even the sponsors, if they can, you know, if we see that this team is doing well, sponsors should come in so that the team can be a big team.
Sponsors, it's about numbers. And that's going to be our next talking point here. Sponsorship, it's about numbers. I think as an economist, you should know better.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, sponsors, it's about numbers. Yeah. Why are we struggling to fill the stadiums? Let's leave Chiefs and Pirates and Siwelele. Why is it difficult for small teams to fill stadiums as compared to our counterparts in Europe? You see, you find teams as small as Burnley within the Premier League, English Premier League. You see, small teams, Leeds and stuff like that. But they fill the stadium to the rafters. Why is it difficult to replicate that in South Africa? Is it the problem of not marketing the team quite well? Is it the problem of the team poor performance? What is the issue here? Or lack of proper marketing strategies within those particular teams?
I think you look at it's a disadvantage of how our football world is being built. If you look at teams in Europe, specifically in England, people from the city of West Ham, they support West Ham. People from Manchester, they support Manchester. But come to South Africa,
and they have seasonal tickets.
You see, they save those
and
kind
the generational tickets, so to speak.
You see, so coming up in South Africa, you see people from Sekhukhune, they don't support Sekhukhune. People from Polokwane, they don't support Polokwane. It's already built that when you are born, you support teams like Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, and Mamelodi Sundowns. You see, and going back again, you look at those teams, the supporters that they have. Orlando Pirates built their team on Orlando as a city. They also, Kaizer Chiefs built their team on Soweto. Teams like Bloemfontein, they built their team on Bloemfontein. But other teams, what they are doing, they are not focusing more on those rural areas that have those kind of fans that they can support the teams. The amount of activations that are being done are not enough to promote those teams. The marketing strategies are not enough to promote this team. You can even see a team like Sundowns failing to get much supporters, but they're performing very well. And that's those kind of things that have a factor on those kind of things. We don't have people who are proper in marketing teams, like the likes of Abuji Sikamtaun. We don't have those people. And I think that's the thing that is also shooting in our football. But the major factor is how our football world is being structured. On when you are a kid, when you grow up, you already support those three big teams, and it's over with that. So I think that's another factor.
My take is that brand, and it is managers of the team or chairpersons of the team, they need, in fact, to invest more in as far as that brand is concerned. Go out there to the public, market the team for brand exposure, interact with communities, tell them how important the team is to them. Look at Polokwane itself, or Limpopo. They've got teams, Sekhukhune, Magesi, Polokwane City. You see,
a lot of teams within the structure even go to the NFD. You have Baroka, Black Leopards.
Exactly.
You have many teams that are from Limpopo, but then the support is not there. We can't even fill a small Seshego stadium. Cannot even fill a small. I'm not talking about the new Peter Mokaba. This old Peter Mokaba. You can't even fill with that. Even when it's even a derby between Sekhukhune and Polokwane City, and that talks to our marketing directors or leaders. They need to market the teams within those rural areas. That's where you can get the first support. We can have people who are 50-50. We don't care about even people who support Chiefs and everything. But when is the time that Sekhukhune is playing, go to support it, to the Sekhukhune game and support the Sekhukhune game. Even our departments, our maybe NEC sports in our province, they need to also up their game. They need to also partners with those teams in bringing up the marketing strategies. Because of teams alone, they cannot be able to just do that. They need to also come up and assist those teams in terms of development. You see, another thing, you see the municipality of Polokwane. I understand it's tourism and everything, but you go to Kaizer Chiefs, a team from Soweto, you offer them millions and millions to come and play their games in Polokwane.
While you overlooking.
While you have three teams, you have Magesi, you have Polokwane City, you have Sekhukhune United. Take that money, invest in those teams, and bring up the football in our province. You can't go to Kaizer Chiefs as money itself. Do they need that money? That's the question. They don't. Does Sekhukhune need that money? Does Polokwane City need that money? They do need that money for development. So I think that's the problem is within there. Our government also failing to team up with those teams, because alone the private sector can never be a success alone. They need a partnership for them to do very well.
I think one of the reasons we are having this conversation is because it's about time that football in the country plays a major role, because football is one thing that can unite different people that are divided by many things. Football can unite those people. And if you can notice currently, there is a positive thing that is happening in the league, in the national team. Now the football fever is spreading throughout. So I think this conversation that we are having is one of those that show that we are heading to a certain direction or a certain level. Before we attained our democracy as a country, there were talks because people felt that no, we cannot live like this forever. So I believe that things like the ones that you mentioned about marketing that is needed in the teams, activations and all that, it's something that teams need to take into consideration. Yeah, into consideration. And we can also applaud my friend here, Thaps, for supporting Sekhukhune. I think we should applaud him.
And I guess Thaps, you can still do more, in fact, to attract more people to come support Sekhukhune, both men and women, and show the importance. I mean, look at Sekhukhune, second position on the log. Whoever dreamt of such achievement?
I think that's the thing, it is within one. If it's not you starting it, who else is going to start it? So you need to start it by supporting those teams. And when you support those teams, that's what motivates the managers, the chairmen to continue with the football. We don't want to see teams like we don't want to see the very same thing that happened to Marumo Gallants, running away from Polokwane, going to Bloemfontein, just because they didn't have supporters in Polokwane. Because you can see some of the games, you have maybe 20 supporters, 50 supporters or 500 supporters within one game of Marumo Gallants, then they end going that. So we don't want to see our teams from Limpopo going away to other provinces in order for them looking for support while we are struggling having football. We want to have football in our province. We want to watch games in our province. We want the PSL to come in our province. And if it doesn't start by you supporting those teams, who else is going to support them? Because they need our support.
And talking about the support from government, which is a local municipality government, look at the now defunct Royal AM. They were supported by KwaZulu-Natal government, Chiba United also, Mandela Bay municipalities also involved with Chiba as well. And I think you have actually mentioned a very poignant point when you say that Polokwane government or Limpopo municipalities, they need to come on board and support these particular teams.
True that, yes, those initiatives, they're there. There are some times where buses are available in Polokwane for some games because, the Peter Mokaba Stadium is much outside the town of Polokwane. But then I think they can do more. They can do more. There are those monies within the government that are there for sports, for sports development and everything. And that's where they need to come up with those kind of structures. We see teams like our Sekhukhune being in Gauteng, training in Gauteng, but then not training in Limpopo. And I think maybe sometimes being in Limpopo, that's the thing that can help those teams. But where are the infrastructures? There are less infrastructures. Now we have only one main stadium. Okay, I can say two main stadiums in the province. And we have many teams within the structures of PSL. And what if Baroka comes back to the PSL? What's going to happen? Who's gonna? That means we're gonna share stadiums. Sometimes you see us going. That's the thing. So we need to also to focus on the football infrastructures, developing those training facilities, even in Cassis, adding up to the thing of development, going there, getting the talent, and that's the thing that can play a huge impact. Government can really play a huge impact in the football world.
Guys, we haven't spoke about the team at the summit of the Betway Premier League, Mamelodi Sundowns. They seem to be struggling this season. It's my opinion. 2025-26, they are struggling, guys. They are not so impressive, especially when they used to play under the likes of Rulane Mokoena as well as Peter Mosimane.
Mamelodi Sundowns, I don't know the problem currently because even filling that position one currently is just a matter of the multiple games that they played. Otherwise, the teams that are under Mamelodi Sundowns, they have many games to play than Mamelodi Sundowns.
Including Pirates. Pirates, I think they've got 3 games left.
Yes.
They're on 7.
Yes.
Other teams are on 10.
Yes.
Others are on 9.
Are on 9 like Sekhukhune. Sekhukhune is on 9.
Exactly.
Mamelodi Sundowns is on 10.
Exactly.
You see? So, I don't know what is going on. Because Rulane, when you look at Rulane, I don't think he was fired based on the performance. I doubt he was fired based on the performance. Maybe there are other reasons that he was fired. Otherwise, Sundowns should have kept Rulane. I think they would be a better team compared to what they are now. Yeah. But as an Orlando Pirates fan, I'm happy about that.
You're always happy.
They want to win the league. That's what they want.
You're always happy.
But out of, I think they played 10 games, and out of those 10 games, they accumulated 21 points out of 30 points. And saying...
But they're trailing you guys to Sekhukhune by a point.
By a point.
21.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
Yes, by
But
a point.
I think...
And it's dangerous.
It's only a point, and these ones played 9 games.
Yeah, we
9
still have a
games.
game in hand, but games in hand are not points in hand.
They're just trailing you by 1 point.
Yeah. But I think out of 30 points, they collected 21 points. And for saying they are really having a poor season, it's a little bit of it's big, man, saying that. I think one thing that affected Sundowns, beside all these other things and the going out of their key player, Lucas Ribeiro, and some of the players having the problem. Because look, when you go to, and this is the problem that Orlando Pirates will start having, when you play in higher competitions like FIFA Club World Cup, FIFA World Cup, CAF Champions League, you expose your players to the world. And big teams are coming for those players. And that's where the conflict start having, because players, they come up with high money, they start being a conflict of money and everything. But I think what affected Sundowns is they lacked a proper preseason because of they were in FIFA Club World Cup. They were in CAF and everything. They never had that time to rest. But I think Sundowns is a team that you can never write off in the conversation of winning the league. It's just that this season the league is gonna be competitive. I think we're gonna go back to that season when a plane used to run from the other province to the other province with the cup.
That's what
we're
we
just
want.
gonna have that kind of thing, and that's what we want. We want that competition.
Yeah.
But the thing I think is also even the coach at some point, his tactics are not that much of the game-winning tactics. They are more of those tactics where you draw. And the problem with also Sundowns was the firing of Coach Rulani Mukwege.
But Thaps, Cardoso is struggling, and this is quite evident as far as the supporters and fans of Sundowns are concerned. They became very agged when Sundowns was booted out of the competition. I think it's the MTN 8 by Orlando Pirates. And one of the reasons, if I jog your mind back, Berg, one of the reasons why Rolando was fired was that because he's failing to win domestic silverware. And Cardoso is falling into the same trap. He only win the league, and he can't make it through the CAF Champions League. He can't win domestic silverware. And Sundowns fans are paying for the blood of the coach.
And I think he won't even win the league this season. So I don't know what is it that is going to win. I don't know what is it.
It's really tough.
You know, Thaps mentioned something about exposing players to the level of big teams. You know,
Football world.
Yes, football world. I don't think that is a disadvantage. I think it is good if it is backed by this culture that is at Orlando Pirates of bringing players to the DDC, from the DDC to the national team. To the bigger team. You know what is happening? If our players they go like Nkota did, that is not a bad thing, because if that happens, it motivates even those that are left. Because when you look at Orlando Pirates, I don't think currently we really have stars. Because, you know, if a team is performing well as a team, that is very dangerous, and that's what we want.
Guys, we're about to wrap it up. And the reflection on the lock, in as far as positioning is concerned on the table lock, I just want to get your opinion. Come end of the season, what's going to happen? Are we going to see changes? The likes of Perfene boys are sitting on position 5. They're also struggling. What's going to happen? The league is so competitive right now, you can't even tell come end of the season what's going to happen. Let me start with you.
I think for me, Sundowns will take the league.
Aye.
Okay.
For me, Sundowns will take the league. They have a depth.
Is that your wish or it's a fact?
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
I would wish to Sekhukhune.
Maybe this one is a Sundowns fan.
But we need to be
masquerading as Sekhukhune.
No, but we need to be honest, man. They have quite the players. They have.
I'm going to ask you again, is that a fact
players.
or is that your wish?
It's my opinion.
It's your opinion. Okay. Go ahead.
So I think
opinion.
Sundowns may be number 1, and Orlando Pirates will be on the number 2 spot, and Sekhukhune will be on number 3 spot. And I think what I can add to the number 4 spot, Stellenbosch, I don't think, yes, they might have an impactful season. They might disturb this, too much teams.
Top 5.
But I think they will be
top 5.
on number 4 spot. And number 5, I'll go with maybe Stellenbosch. Yes.
Sundowns used to open a gap wide. 2023, 2024, they will open a gap wide in as far as points are concerned.
That's how they always won.
2024, 2025, they will open the gap wide. We mentioned earlier on, they're trailing by a point behind Sekhukhune.
Okay. For me, I think we will end like this. Number 1, Orlando Pirates. I know we have always said this in previous seasons. As Orlando Pirates fans, we always said we are winning the league. We are winning the league. We are winning the league. But now, backed by the facts, you know, Coach Wadu, when you look at his style of play, and when you look at the results that he brings, you can see that there's sustainability in what he's doing. You can see that there is hope in what is happening at Orlando Pirates. Even if a player leaves, we know that we are safe. You know, Coach Wadu, even his substitutes, his style of play, you can see that he takes out this one. You know, that guy is a football legend.
Okay.
That one, yeah. So I believe that this season, Orlando Pirates will be at number 1. And then number 2, we can have between Sekhukhune and Mamelodi Sundowns. Between Sekhukhune and Mamelodi Sundowns. Because you know what happens, ne? Mamelodi Sundowns used to dominate the league, and even other teams. Mamelodi Sundowns used to win games before they play them. Because
Exactly.
yes, the mentality was that psychological that this is Mamelodi Sundowns were playing with. The moment these things start happening, it's the likelihood is that they will deteriorate more. Because even other teams, when they play with Mamelodi Sundowns, they will just say, wow, Mamelodi Sundowns. And then that can lead into them not even getting that to position 2. It can be Sekhukhune maybe at position 2. Maybe we'll find Sundowns at number 3 or number 4.
Pirates is involved in too many games, domestically and continentally. Too many games. Yes. You just won the MTN 8, yes. And you are now in the Carling Cup. You're going to be playing in the Nedbank Cup. You are involved into the CAF Champions League and also the PSL League as well.
Which happened or participated in us losing many things last season. It was a problem. But this season, we have many players that are good. Because when you look at last season, we couldn't participate and win in all these competitions that we were playing at. But now when you look at Orlando Pirates, we no longer have players that we depend on. When we say, if so and so is not there, then Orlando Pirates will never win. We have surprises at Orlando Pirates.
For depth, every player wants to prove themselves.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Thaps, I'm starting with you. Maybe Thaps?
Well, I think when it will, we have much problems within teams that need to be fixed. I think that one, yes, fans are the most important part of football. They're the customers of football, and I think there are many ways that can be done. But I think applying that will be much really ruin our football, because you see now at some teams decisions have been made based on fans, and it's very very wrong because we have. As Lulana Mukwena mentioned, artificial supporters whom support the team because of I'm a Betway, just because of you betted Betway, then the team loses. You don't see what the team is doing, but just because of that one lose. Remember the Cape Town City lose of the last season of Lulana Mukwena. Just by losing that game, the fans, because of you lost Betway, they got furious at Lulana Mukwena and those kind of things. But yes, it can contribute in football, but I think it's gonna be too much of administration, because we know most of our football teams, they are more of a private companies than a public companies, and we know the difference between the two is that the other one, its shares are not being shared publicly. So, and that's the problem we also had with the likes of Amoro Casalos, where fans had the shares in their clubs, but unfortunately because of what happened and everything, they end up being fights and taken to court and those kind of things. So I don't think we need to be involved that in terms of our administration of football, but it can be a thing that can come up in the future with shares being publicly shared, like other businesses where you can buy shares and own a team, sort of own the ordinary shares of the team, but not actually own the ownership of the team. And that when a team is winning, and maybe they had a wonderful season, that's where the team can say, this is how we can give back to the fans via releasing of dividends and everything. That's how we can be. But straight ownership or just that limited ownership is a bit much of a thing that I think in terms of South African football, it's way very, very far. Yes, it's happening in the Europe and becoming an important factor. But I think for our football, it's a bit far. We need to start fixing our marketing strategies and everything. I think that's what we can do it.
And on the same perspective also, to considering that, in fact, the economic situation in South Africa, people are getting laid off, people are losing jobs, so forth, and not also being sure that do teams have a plausible platform such as that one? Do they have actually human resource individuals who will be able to execute? And as you just alluded to the fact that it's huge administration vis-a-vis to other teams in Europe. But yeah, let's say your take on that.
I think maybe leading to that issue of ownership of fans, I think one thing that is needed in South African football currently in terms of the relationship between fans and teams. I think we need, I don't know how can it be structured, but we need that closeness between teams and supporters, because currently, there's a gap between a team and its supporters. Even the branches that the supporters have, those branches are just operating at their own. There is no bond between the team.
There's no synergy.
Yes, yes. So I think there's something that needed to be done. That needs to be done.
Talking about lack of synergy on the grassroots level, on another platform, which is radio, I interact with a lot of supporters branches. At some stage, in fact, they would come and announce the death of a supporter. And I was appalled to learn that some teams, Orlando Pirates, Chiefs, if there's a member who has since passed on, they don't even contribute towards that. And we learned that these are fans who have been loyal to the team, who have been supportive to the team through and for many years. And you find that people come to the platform, the radio station, to ask for donations.
Yes, it happens. It goes back to the issue of that gap that is between the team and the fans. Because you cannot start contributing at a level of a funeral when you didn't have that communication, because there's no communication. And fans support their team. They come all the way from Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and they come to Orlando, for instance, and then they leave. And then they organize their branches and they launch and all that, but there is no communication between the teams and the fans.
On that score, who are we shouldering the blame on here? Is it your leadership in terms of supporters not creating that environment where from time to time they get in touch with the head office of, be it Orlando Pirates, Sekhukhune, Kaizer Chiefs? Who is to be blamed here? Because I guess your leadership are the one who needs to create that relationship with your Dr. Ivan Koza, with Kaizer Mutawu.
I wouldn't really put a blame on the fans. And also, I don't want to put a blame on the management, because maybe that never crossed their minds. But if it comes from the team, because fans always go there to the stadium, if it comes from the management coming to the side of the fans, then I think it is going to be workable and easy.
Well, I think, for big teams, it's a bit of a huge thing, because teams like Sundowns, Pirates and Chiefs, they have a lot of supporters, a huge amount of supporters, that some of them you can afford to cover them or help them in terms of many things. But the contribution is needed, and I will applaud these two teams, these small teams like Sekhukhune, where there's a provision of maybe they.
So you are saying Sekhukhune is a small team?
No, we are a small team. I don't want to. We are a small team. No, but according to the football language, we are a small team, and I will take that because we are a developing team. We are a small team coming up through the structures.
Exactly.
But I'll give credit to such kind of things where they meet supporters halfway in terms of transport. They meet branches halfway in terms of support. The provision of complementary.
So Nifula achieved the Pirates.
I think
Chiefs and Pirates. Say it. Nifula achieved the Pirates.
Yeah, but it's understandable. They have a lot of branches. They have those big
but they
numbers.
Have a lot of sponsorship.
That's where the likes of Abuda come need to come in.
They have greyhounds, buses, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's where then the commercial part of football need to come in. And you look at initiatives like, I give credit to initiatives like our Honor, which giving fans the telephone to them, and the other thing focusing more on fans. Giving fans more transportation to go to stadiums like the Bafana game and the other games. And also the likes of Betway, providing money for these people who goes to the stadium and wear very well, and they give you 20,000, 50,000. It's a good initiative because that's empowering the fans.
That needs to be applauded.
Whoever
came with that idea.
And that can also be cascaded to other teams as well on the grassroots level. When we spoke about marketing.
True that.
Such activations are very important. Weekends, where the team is not playing, is not involved in any match, you go to shopping malls and interact with the people.
You have a lot of injured players that are available. Exactly. Take them to those malls.
Exactly. Okay, Thaps, we're about to part ways right now. Your message to your Sekhukhune fans, to the supporters of Sekhukhune, to South African football enthusiasts out there?
I think what I can say is that we will have a good season this season. Yes, we might want to win the league and we might have squad that can maybe win the league, but the question is depth, consistency, and everything. But I think we just need to continue supporting the team.
Yeah.
The team has been doing very well from the start of the season till to this point. Another message to South African football fan, man, let's continue supporting the teams of South Africa. We are really doing very well as a nation, managing to participate in all the competition that the football world has offered this season and the previous season. It's a very quite good thing. And the other thing, we need to also focus on the women's football part of the South African football, because it really needs our support, and such teams, they do need our support. So we need to start supporting our home teams, even if you're a Kaizer Chiefs supporter, if you are a Sunderland supporter, but let's support the home teams in our provinces. That's where those teams can really grow up and develop within the structures of football.
Each time I get this opportunity, I like to address this issue. You know, there's this hooliganism that is happening on social media of Orlando Pirates fans, particularly. People who call themselves Orlando Pirates fans. I don't know whether those people really love Orlando Pirates. You know, those who are mocking certain players from maybe Kaizer Chiefs. Recently, there's something that was trending about, I don't know if it's Shabalala. You know, each time I have this opportunity, I want to tell people to refrain from that. You should refrain from that, because as much as we have different teams, but we are football supporters. We are football supporters. When I see Thaps here, I see my brother. When I see someone from Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns, I see my brother. We may differ in terms of opinions when it comes to football, but when it comes to loving one another, that should be our uniform. You know, there's something that happened with the issue of funeral that you brought, or about with the issue of a fan dying. There was a fan that was prominent at Kaizer Chiefs level by the name Kubevu. After that guy died, and there was another accident that involved Kaizer Chiefs fans. You know, I didn't like the comments that came from other Orlando Pirates fans. I didn't like that.
And also,
I didn't like it.
Even when Coach Abdesalam Odu and the Orlando Pirates people got injured after that game of Chippa United.
Yes, on the R21.
Marking the thing, okay, those egg thing and saying it's a revenge or anything, such thing. It's really not good. And to add on what he said about Shabalala, guys, we might differ in our opinions of African football.
Please, guys, speak to the fans. Speak
our
to
very
football
same
enthusiasts. Tell
our
them,
very
please.
same constitutions allows us freedom of speech in terms of Section 16. But there's responsibilities within that right. If you have a right, you have a right to opinion, just like in football. But going to a point of insulting someone, saying it's a zero brainer football, it's really a bad thing. Let's respect these players. They're also human beings. Yes, we can have opinion ourselves. Hey, saying someone is not playing very well, it's not really insulting him. Having that criticism, constructive criticism, is not insulting him. But if I'm going to start saying you are a useless player, it's very, very insulting.
He was even called a thing. There is this group, I don't know, that called themselves
on Twitter.
Yes, that called themselves Orlando Pirates supporters and all that. They said this thing.
And
talking about Shabalala. You can't say that.
For a young player, it's destroying. Such players, they need our motivation, support. Yeah. As far as we need to be honest with them, but we don't need to really insult them. And coming up to the other thing, this thing of clubism, when going to Bafana, it's really not good. And
based on that, saying that we're dividing the country.
To that.
There's a lot of talk that
And it's not Orlando Pirates fans only. Because of now it's happening with Orlando Pirates fans, we start blaming them. We can't solve clapism using clapism again. This thing started long time ago when Kaizer Chiefs was dominating the squad, having Abu Shabalala and everything. There were people saying, it's Kaizer Chiefs, it's Kaizer Chiefs, it's Kaizer Chiefs. That thing went from Kaizer Chiefs, went to Sundowns when it was dominating. Sundowns player, they're making impact. Now it's Pirates, is that thing. Now we start having division within our county. They start having, we start not supporting our national team because of that division. Because of when a team is doing very well, they start saying it's Pirates players. Yes, we can give credit and say Pirates players really contributed to that thing, but we need to be united in terms of supporting our national team. Without our support, if we are divided, if some people are going to support Rwanda, it's our national team. At the end of the day, you will need your player to play there. there. You will need your kid one day to play for that national team. You will need people to support him. So let's start stopping with the division thing and not at the clubism thing. Let's support the national team.
You know, in my opinion, if you say it in good spirit, when you say it's Pirates players, for instance, the recent game, 3 Orlando Pirates players scored those goals. If you say it in good spirit, you say it's Pirates players that scored the goals without discriminating or blaming
Or mocking.
or mocking. Yes, that's the way.
Other teams.
Or mocking other players when they come, because other people, there is this thing of people blaming Coach Hugo Bruce of when he takes more players in certain teams. I don't see that as a disadvantage. In fact, that motivates other teams to perform, because for a national team, we need that high standard. If it's Kaizer Chiefs that performs, then we'll take more players from Kaizer Chiefs. That is not wrong. I don't blame Coach Hugo Bruce for that. But the only thing I have a problem is when other players are being mocked.
Steve Pinara.
Why?
I was not there, but I think when you grow up within the environment that we are from, the villages, you hear such a name and you hear how it's been praised, and names of players from those classes being named after that name. And I think for me, I'll go with him.
Steve Pinar or Penny McCarthy?
Penny McCarthy.
Why?
Penny
Is
McCarthy.
it because he played for Pirates?
Not only that,
Okay.
but Benny McCarthy, Benny McCarthy is hope to South African football. That there is a player that can go to that level, that it is possible as a South African to go to that level. I believe even if we can ask maybe a few individuals who are playing in the South African football, Benny McCarthy could be one of the reasons they believe they will make it.
Winning the Champions League
Yes.
in Europe.
Yes.
UEFA Champions League. Coaching locally. Amazulu
now coaching
Kenya.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The second one, Macfish or Lucas Radebe?
The toughest thing is that I'm in 2000. I didn't watch some of those players, but
These were defenders in their prime.
yeah, but
Lucas
I'll go
Radebe.
for Lucas Radebe.
Lucas Radebe, why?
Yeah, the impact that he had in the football playing in, I think he played in England. Ne?
He played for
Played
Leeds.
England, Leeds.
He was a
Now
captain for
back at
Leeds.
You see, that's the impact that
And a
one
goalkeeper
player has.
also for Leeds at some point. And
So I'll go for Lucas Radebe.
My brother.
I will also go for Lucas Radebe.
Why?
Lucas Radebe can also be linked to what Benny McCarthy has played in the South African football general. Yes, yes. Lucas Radebe is also that pillar that when you look at Lucas Radebe, he's one of those people who made South Africa to be respected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That one, Ace Kusa or Ace Nzilingwe?
This is really tough.
May his soul rest in peace, Ace Nzilingwe.
You're putting me on the spot. I have never watched those players. Just hear the names.
Okay, I just give you names. Ace Kuse, Ace Nzilingwe.
Let me go with Ace Nzilingwe.
He used to play for Chiefs. Ace Nzilingwe.
I will have no reason why I go with him.
Ace Nzilingwe or Ace Kuse?
Ace Kuse.
Why Ace Kuse? Is it because he was playing for Pirates?
That's the reason.
You don't like Chiefs, eh?
No, I like Orlando Pirates, and maybe it is because I will also share the same sentiments. Yes,
Yeah.
because some of them you didn't really watch them.
Yeah, I just hear the name.
So you just heard that there's this guy, there's that guy.
Maximo Ponyane or Dr. Kumalo?
I'm Doggy, 16V.
Why?
I think the same thing as Benny McCarthy. They're one of the players that have really motivated a lot of players in the current generation. You see each and every season when a midfielder comes up within the structures of football, they always remark the Dr. Kumalo. When Tembazwane came and became the best, they said they compared him with Dr. Khumalo. When Tito Maswanganyi came, they also compared with Dr. Khumalo. So it tells you that he's that guy who has set the standard for our players in South African football. So I'll go with Umdoki to Dr. Khumalo.
Trom?
Dr. Kumar,
Dr. Kumar.
16V.
For the same reasons as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Siyabonga Nomvete or Collins Mbesuma?
A tough one.
Collins Mbesuma is
Siyabonga Nomvete or Collins Mbesuma?
Is that one who scores many goals?
Yes.
Yeah. Siyabonga Nomvete. No, let me go with Siyabonga Nomvete. Setting the standard, holding that record of the all-time PSL goal scorer for many seasons.
Okay.
Still holding it even today. I think I'll go for him. He's really set that standard for our strikers in South African football.
Collins Mbesuma, Siyabonga Nomvete.
This is a tough one. I will have to go with both.
No, you can't.
No. You can't go with both.
You can't go with both.
Okay, Siyabonga Nomvete.
Siyabonga Nomvete.
Yes.
Your reasons?
Siyabonga Nomvete, another reason could be that he's South African. And, he making that impact. Not that I'm discriminating other countries. But, when you see talent that is born here, making it here and beyond, it is hope even for youngsters that are still up and coming.
Let us go contemporary. The last one, I'm going to throw the last one. Tshepang Moremi or Pule Modi?
No, I will go with...
I don't want you to say, I don't know those players. I wasn't born at that time. These ones, you know them.
I will go with Tshepang Moremi. We have seen he has got the chance and he has showed up. When a player gets a chance, you need to show up. I'm not saying because of the recent performance he had at Orlando Pirates, but the performance that he had at Amazulu had a very nice performance that side. And Upule Modi, for me, I think Upule, the problem is that when he gets the chance, it doesn't come up. That's why I will go for Tshepang Moremi, and also the impact that he's having currently at Orlando Pirates.
Okay, I know you're gonna say the same. Tshepang Moremi or Pule Modi?
I would be different on this one.
Yeah.
I go with Modi.
Why?
But I believe if Modi can play for a different team, he would have a different impact.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what is it that is happening at Kaizer Chiefs, as I said earlier on. Okay. But there are people who have a great potential at Kaizer Chiefs, but that cannot be, who would be different if they can be taken to a different setting. Yes.
Okay. I think that will be a subject for some other time. Thaps, your socials, if anyone would like to get in touch with you, how do they go about doing that?
I think on TikTok, I'm Thaps Sekhukhune Chochi. Then on Facebook, I'm Thaps Chochi. The other way you can find me is on Namafen's Way too, when we are doing the live games interviews and everything. That's where you can find me.
Okay.
On social media platforms, it's all Trom Productions. But where we are more present and posting almost on regular basis, it's TikTok and Facebook. But it's Trom Productions on all platforms.
Okay. Thaps, may we please not commit us in injecting resources where we are not supposed to, in searching for you, looking for you, sending law enforcement agencies looking out for you.
No, I'm here, leadership, and you will get me when you need me.
Gentlemen, it has been so awesome. I'm thrilled, I'm excited, and I just hope this is not your last visit on our platform, which is Olive Branch Entertainment, vis-a-vis Biggie on Sport. We're looking forward to engage with you with many more other fans, especially when we recap on the 2025-2026 season. Once again, thank you so much.
I'm with Bafetu. As always, fighting no one fixed against football and not caring who says what Bafetu. Catch an interesting episode on Olive Branch Entertainment on YouTube that we were talking about football, but not just football only, but look at the commercial side of football, the development side of the football, and mostly the customers of football, us, the fans.
Leadership. Here, guys, I'm with Thaps here, one of the fans that I respect in football. We had a conversation here together with Biggie on Sport that you don't want to miss. Yeah, on YouTube, ufike phayana ucheke Olive Branch Entertainment. You subscribe and follow. There's more. There's a lot. It's not only this conversation. There's more. Go there and support. If you into the football, if you are a football fan, I promise you're going to love this one, because we also loved this one. Thank you.